Good morning, all. Welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Tom. If you're not familiar with what this program is, my name's Tom Hamp. I'm a business coach with AdvoCoach of Mid-Michigan, and we do this every Tuesday at 9:30, and we talk about various things that are business related, from business ownership to the three areas that we really concentrate on are time, team, and money. And today we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about in the upcoming episodes, and that is the team aspect, team building, how you can coach your team, some leadership, some development with your team. So those are some of the things that are going to be coming up. As always on Tuesdays with Tom, we want you to share this episode. So if you're not viewing it live, that you can certainly share this with other people that might have a need for the information we're talking about today. Invite others. So if you have this video that you're watching, share it with others so that people can understand what we're trying to accomplish here. And again, we try to do it every Tuesday. We did take a week off last week just to get things reorganized. You're going to see a little different Tuesdays with Tom today as far as the quality. And so before we get started, we want to really thank our sponsor today, and that is this episode of Tuesdays with Tom is brought to you by Coldbox Live. Coldbox Live is a professional live streaming service that takes your live videos to the next level using professional production equipment, clear audio, and graphics like nameplates, logos, and more. If you'd like to take the hassle out of your next live video and look professional on screen, visit the link right here to learn more and book your session today. So thank you, Coldbox Live. This is really a treat because we're going to take our Facebook Live production to that next level. So I hope you enjoy what you see today. So let's get into the team aspect. When we're coaching businesses, the team aspect. If you've been with us at all, we want to let you know that it starts right at the strategic plan. We talked a lot about the strategic plan over the last 6 or 7 weeks. And so we really want to put in the strategic plan how to build and how to maintain our employees, our staff, our team at the place that at the place of business. So how do we do that? So we put some of the priorities and goals we have for our team right in the strategic plan, whether it be your 3 to 5 year plan to grow your team to a certain level, into your annual plan to where you're possibly adding employees, and even in your 90-day plan to where maybe you tweak some of the aspects of your recruiting. So let's talk a little bit about what it means to develop your team. So when we come to you as a business coach, we talk to you about, again, your strategic plan, but within that, we talk to you about different areas of your business. And a question that I usually ask most of my owners is, do you know what the cost of a bad hire is? And many people throw numbers out there, but typically in research that's done, it's anywhere between $25,000 to $50,000 on a bad hire. So in a lot of businesses, that's a soft cost. You really don't see that, but it does impact your bottom line to get that employee replaced, to get that next person through orientation, trained up and ramped up to where they're a productive employee, regardless of what they're doing in your place of business. So remember those numbers, between $25,000 and $50,000 it costs you for a bad hire. So what do companies do? How do they hire bad employees? So here's 4 different areas, and I'm going to throw a few numbers. I'm not going to try to confuse you, but a few numbers. So a survey was done, and here's some of the results. Is 38% of companies needed to fill a position quickly. So what do you suppose happened in that situation? Is that they panicked, right? They got a hole to fill. They need to hurry and fill that because the owner's probably doing it, or they have a stopgap measure, and they panic. So they rush through the process, and so they make mistakes. They probably do more of a gut feel, and so they hire somebody in panic mode as opposed to going through the process that they have laid out. 34%, and this is going to happen, it just didn't work out. So, we all would like to tell you that, 100% accuracy on the recruiting and hiring process, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. So we need to move on and to that next employee. 21%, a company didn't research or test the employee's skill enough. They hired a person, they may have had a great personality, but the actual skill, the attributes that they were looking for didn't exist, or they were in a weak position. So again, we need to put some things in place to be able to test and or research the skill level of the person that we're hiring. And then 11% of companies didn't perform adequate reference checks. And I know people are going to give you references that are going to talk good about them, but there are certain questions that you can ask in the interview process or when you're checking references that will just check the basic history, work history, skill levels, those types of things. So we want to make sure that you're checking your reference too. A very important piece. So again, why do companies hire bad employees? A various amount of reasons, but again, those are some of the things that we just need to slow down and follow the process. So we do need a recruiting process. So many of the companies that I talk to sorta have one, maybe have one, but we need to put something in place. And it's important because we want to make sure that we follow this process every time. We want to certainly welcome those visitors. We have David McNeely has joined us, and also Jamie Taylor has joined us. Thanks for joining us today. And remember, share this video out if you can. Invite some other people to watch if you know those people that are in business that could be in need of some of the information that we provide here today. And so in the recruiting process, we have a simple one here, and there's many different types of recruiting processes, but we kind of keep it simple at AdvoCoach. We really have a scorecard, a place to kind of keep track of what's going on with each candidate in the recruiting process. We talk about sourcing, and that's where you really pick up getting referrals from the candidate, checking those referrals. We also want to talk about how you go about selecting what things are important, what things are not important, and we call it the sell, and really that is, how do they fit? Do they fit with your core values? How's their family situation? If they're going to work long hours, is that something that may upset the apple cart at home? Their freedom. How will they work? You know, in many businesses, we talk about trying to allow your employees to make great decisions and help you get to where you want to go with your company. So we don't want to do the micromanaging thing. So we want to ask and research how well they work without close supervision. And then, you know, if they see this job as fun, how we can make it fun for them. So there's a number of different aspects. So really, it's just in review, going over the recruiting process. You have a scorecard. You do your sourcing. You certainly go through your selecting process with your interviews and following up with your references, and then certainly talking about what makes them tick, what they enjoy about their employment in other places, as well as what they look forward to in your upcoming position. Certainly communication between your employees and teammates is crucial. We want to make sure that we have that. We do a thing called DISC, behavior assessment. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that today. We'll talk about that in subsequent sessions, because it's extremely important. It's not a pass-fail test. It just kind of allows us to see the type of people that work for us and how we can better create a culture of teams that have great communication and how they can work together. So we'll talk a little bit about that in some of the upcoming sessions. And then we talk about the organizational plan. Where does everybody fit? So we have business owners go through that. We talk a little bit about what has to happen when we put an organizational plan in place, because a lot of people come into an organization, they don't really know what the hierarchy is. So we want to help them understand that going forward. So we're about 10 minutes in. I just really want to reiterate, if you just tuned in and joined us, this is Tuesdays with Tom. We do this every Tuesday at 9:30. What do? We share business information in many different areas, from how to build your team, such as what we're talking about today, and we're going to be talking about that over the next several weeks, to strategic plan, which we just finished up a series on that, to anywhere from developing some of your marketing to lead generation, to even as you get older in your business, your comprehensive exit strategy. What do you do when you're starting to slow down and want to take that next step, as either sell the business, to maybe turn it over to your heirs, maybe you're just going to throw the keys under the door and walk away. It just depends on what your plans are, and we want to help you with that. So Tuesdays with Tom, we want you to invite you to share these videos with those that you might think are in need of that. And then also, we want you to invite others to visit and watch the video. Another thing that I want to mention to you is you can ask questions at any time. If you have a question that you want to give to us, we'll certainly answer it on air if we can. If we can't get there, then we'll certainly want to make sure that we get the answer back to you once we go off the air. Or if you're watching this video, not live, we want to make sure that you get a chance to ask a question, and we'll get a response to you, within 24 hours. So make sure that if you have a burning question that you ask that, and we'll make sure that we get an answer back to you. And again, just want to reiterate, this video is a little bit different than we've done in the past. I want to thank our sponsors for today, and really Tuesdays with Tom. This particular episode and the ones that are upcoming, Tuesdays with Tom, is brought to you by Coldbox Live. Coldbox Live is a professional live streaming service that takes your live videos to the next level using professional production equipment, clear audio, and graphics, things like nameplates, logos, and more. So if you'd like to take the hassle out of your next live video and take professional on screen, and look professional on screen, visit the link right here on the screen to learn more and book your session today. So you're going to see a distinct difference between our earlier videos and the ones we're doing now, and I'm glad to have Coldbox Films as a partner. We're very happy about it, and so you're going to see some different things going. So where we were talking, we just left off on really the organizational plan of your business and how an employee fits into that. An exercise that we often do with business owners is that we actually have them write out their organizational chart. And really this is, in smaller businesses, their particular names fill up a lot of boxes, and that's okay. What we're trying to do is build an organization, and the best thing to do is that once these names are in those organizations, then we try to have them hire or replace themselves in each one of those boxes. So the organizational chart, even for small businesses, extremely important for small businesses to fill that out and start there. Some of the other things we talk about when we're talking about developing or building our teams or a good culture for our employees is an apprenticeship plan. And one of the things that we do in the apprenticeship plan is we really talk about identifying the tasks that your employees are going to do. And we don't want the workplace to be pure chaos and drudgery. We want to make sure that there is some light side to some of the tasks as well. So we want to make sure we take a real good look at the values and the fun factor of the tasks that we're having these employees perform, and then we want to make sure that we can adjust that, maybe throw some fun stuff into those particular tasks. And the other thing is that we have what we call the 4-step apprenticeship process. We'll go over those in a later episode, but one of the things that we do there is that we have the person that's training a new employee do the job while that person looks on. And then while we're explaining a lot of the duties and things required in that task, and then we gradually walk that particular candidate or that employee over to that job now, and then slowly wean ourselves off and see if they can handle that. So it's a 4-step process. We'll get into that in a later episode. Some of the things that I know many business owners may not have, and that's an organizational and an operations and training manual. This is a valuable it's a valuable tool for your organization if you can get that done, a training manual for that particular job. That way you won't miss steps. An employee can't come to you later and say, you know what, nobody ever told me. It could almost be like a checklist of things that are necessary in that particular position. So this will be outside things like a job description or position description, but just an operations and training manual, not only for the business, but for each position itself. Again, we have to recreate the wheel every time we hire for a new position in our company. Another thing is we talk about efficiency overhaul system, and this is where we really lean on our team. As an employee gets ramped up and they've been with you for a number of months and years, they're going to know their job pretty well. And what we try to do then is really hone the job down to about as lean as we can get it as far as efficiency. We want to make sure they're understanding what their job is and give them an open forum for them to suggest changes. How can we make your job here, the things that you do, more efficient? Because we all know that if we can become more efficient, do things quicker, not hurried, but quicker, that can certainly impact your bottom line. So again, we're going to rely on our employees to help us out with that, because as an owner and as you grow, you're not going to be able to understand each specific task in your organization, or at least that's the plan. So again, we're going to lean on employees. We talk about that as the efficiency overhaul system, and how we can get our businesses better operating, more efficient, more productive. Another thing we talk about is the performance incentive plan, and this just doesn't have to be sales. When you certainly talk about incentive, you usually talk about your sales team, but we can set up some type of an incentive plan for almost every position that we have in the organization. So keep that in mind. We're going to talk about that in some future sessions as well. This next topic is a big one. We addressed it a little bit in the strategic plan, but it's really our time management plan. This is where we want to make sure the employees that we have, the staff that we have, is really making the most of the time that they have here at the place of employment. That certainly involves a good training program, but again, some people are good managers of the time they have, and other people show up and really struggle with what to do next. So we talk a lot about priorities, how to prioritize your time, because as we've stated in previous Facebook Lives, is that people can come to work, they can work a full 8 hours and be exhausted by the end of the day. But the thing that we don't know as business owners, are they doing the things that we need them to do? Are they concentrating on the priorities? They're probably doing a lot of things right, but are they doing the right things? We have a question today, and I wish I could see it, but I can't see it. So I'll move along till I can get help with that. We'll answer that question shortly. So think about that when we're trying to accomplish in our business and really the activities that we got scheduled. I will tell you, I've had some number of conversations with some business owners about how deeply they should get into somebody's calendar. And I'm not a big advocate of that micromanaging, but I think from time to time it's okay to monitor how someone's using their time. So certainly we want to talk about how somebody is managing some of the priorities that they're working on, and use it as a coaching opportunity. So the question that we have is, do you recommend including your team in the development of incentive plans? And that's a great question, Jamie, because I absolutely agree 100% that your employees should be part of that. Why? Is because then they have buy-in. If it all comes from the top of the organization, what you get when that happens is that they don't know what we're going through. They don't know how difficult it is, or some of the tasks that we have to perform. So when we have good open communication, we have a great forum to put in some really good performance incentive plans. So that's a great question. So yes, I totally agree that we should include our employees with that. We want to thank Marcia Madel for joining us. Thanks, Marcia. Good to see you're logged in today. Certainly share this video with all. So again, time management, another big topic that we'll cover in another session, but extremely important on how we kind of dip into the things that our employees are doing and make sure they're using the time that they have the most efficient way. A couple other things that we have on here. We can never forget the leadership development plan. We do take not only your senior staff, but we also want to make sure that we're taking your people through leadership as well. Because one of the things that we don't want to have happen is that your people miss opportunities because we're not allowing them to have the autonomy to look for those opportunities that could change things in your business, bring you new opportunities, and we want to make sure that we give them the ability to do that. So we got about 10 minutes to go. I just want to reiterate what you're watching today, and it's Tuesdays with Tom. We do this every Tuesday on Facebook Live. The forum really is about sharing business and business ideas, topics, things to do in business, how to work on your business, not just in your business. So again, we talk about those different types of topics. If you've got an idea or something that you want to hear about, certainly let us know. You can ask a question or drop off, topic, and we'll certainly consider it in some of the future Facebook Live broadcasts. as a viewer, we want to thank you for being here today. A couple things you could help us out with is by sharing these videos to those that you think could use it, whether they're business owners, people in business. And as a viewer, you can also ask questions. Don't be shy. Ask those questions. We'll certainly get you an answer back to make sure that we're staying fresh and on top of things. And then if you happen to catch this video as a recording, we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to answer any questions you may have as well. So certainly get a hold of us and we can make sure we can get you an answer back very quickly. You may, if you've been a watcher of these videos in the past, you may see a large uptick in the quality. And so I want to one last time thank our sponsors. This episode of Tuesdays with Tom is brought to you by Colebox Live. Colebox Live is a professional live streaming service that takes your live videos to the next level using professional production equipment, clear audio, and graphics. And that means things like nameplates, logos, and more. If you'd like to take the hassle out of your next live, if you'd like to take the hassle out of your next live video and look professional on screen, visit the link right here to learn more and book your session today. And Cooper will take care of everything that you need. So thanks for being again here today. We are talking, we're just starting our session with, we really talk about team, time, and money, and we're going to spend over the next several sessions the topic of team and how to build your team and your culture to where you want it to go. We have a question out here, and that is, do you often see business owners struggle with deciding when is a good time to expand their team, and how do you walk them through that? Another great question, and that is a struggle. So how do you know when to expand when things are, getting crazy and you can't, and your plate's probably full, stuff's falling off from it? So a lot of times what we try to do is we try to take, if you've been in, ever sold your house, they do comparables, and that's a lot what we do is we try to compare your business with other firms out there like your business. So we have a resource that we use and where we can pull data from businesses either in your specific area, region, or around the country and really get those numbers. And what we try to look at a lot of times, and this isn't fast, this isn't always what we do, but a real easy way to do that, a benchmark would be revenue per employee for that particular company. And so when we look at that revenue per employee, it makes it pretty basic as far as, are we at that level yet? And if we're not, maybe there's other things that we need to do first, being a little bit more efficient, looking at priorities, maybe not doing some of the things that are not high priority. But again, when revenue per employee is about where we need it, or you're getting close to doubling your revenue per employee, maybe it's time to add a position to take some of that off. And so some of the things we're also talking about, and this can upset maybe some of the culture that you currently have, is we talk to business owners about staffing with contract employees, not bringing on somebody full time, but possibly bringing on somebody that's contract that'll work 3 to 5 to 10 hours a week, depending on what you need. Many of my clients use a bookkeeper. Some people use an admin to do the filing and making sure that the office is kept clutter-free. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to bring that full-time employee right away, and maybe it's an intern as well. There's a lot of good intern programs around probably your area. I know we have great programs here in our area. So again, it's not a position to where we have to jump in and do the full-time thing. We can walk, we can kind of walk before we run, bring in somebody that can help in certain areas. Maybe you get a feel for how they are as an employee and possibly could turn into a longer-term full-time employee. The other thing that also does is that you're, as a business owner and person that's probably doing, a lot of things, wearing a lot of hats, you're busy. And so to try to keep someone else busy with things in front of them for 40 hours a week is very difficult. So we want to impress upon you to bring somebody in to do the things that are absolutely necessary, and then we can help, walk you up with that. Even some weeks that you don't have anything because they're contract, hey, there's nothing to do that week. Business is not impacted negatively by having a full-time employee sitting there with not much to do. So good question. Thanks for asking that. Because again, extremely important. How do we start the process of growth? And we just don't want to grow at a breakneck speed. We want to make sure that we're smart about it, bringing on employees when we need their assistance, but also when we can budget for them and make sure that we don't have to take a step backwards. So a good question too would be, how do we know when we need to scale back? So obviously, again, another good rule of thumb is that revenue per employee, if you've taken a step back in your revenue because of many factors, which could include the economy, we want to make sure that we're measuring that on an ongoing basis. So every quarter, understand where your financials are at, take a look at your revenue per employee and see if you're in danger of having to do, make some changes. So stay on top of that type of thing, because the worst thing in the world is to miss payroll, to have a crunch to where somebody bounces a check. You don't want to have those types of things happen. So make sure that we're doing the right things and monitoring our own financials to make sure that these things are, planned well ahead of time. And then you can also sleep at night because you can be comfortable that you've done the right thing, your revenue and profit is at the right spot, and you won't have to stress about having to find 2 or 3 more clients to make sure that the new employee that you've hired can stay. So great question. Thanks for bringing that up. And so, as I said, this is really just the beginning of our team aspect. The 3 things that we concentrate on as coaches for business owners is the time aspect, the team aspect, as well as the money aspect. And so we're going to concentrate our several sessions here in the future on the team aspect of your business. We went over the topics today. We want to make sure that we're doing the right things to create a great culture. And even if you've got maybe a team in place already that is not exactly the way you want it, there are things that we can do, and we'll talk about those in the upcoming sessions. So we want to make sure we're doing those as well. So again, Tuesdays with Tom. My name was Tom Hamp. I'm a business coach with AdvoCoach up in Michigan. Love to talk to you in your business. If you have questions, concerns, it's very easy to engage with a business coach. We really talk to you initially about your business, and then we come in and do a business review for about 90 minutes and talk to you about how things should operate and some advice that we would have as a coach for your business. So I want to thank you for joining us today. Again, we do this every Tuesday at 9:30. It will really benefit those that watch the video, and please share this with others that you might think could use it. And without anything else, we will see you next week, Tuesday at 9:30. Thanks for being with us.